Good evening. Here we are, and you're hearing a word, and I must say to you at once, the word is not the thing. You can hear it, you can say it, you can write it on a card and pin it to your mirror, and still miss it completely. The room knows this. We have all had moments when the word abide sat on our lips like a penny on the tongue, metallic, tasteless, without life. And so the first note tonight is urgency. Not panic, not pressure, but a sober reminder. The word is not the thing, and the sound is not the state. Now here is the danger in plain speech. When abide is made into a slogan, a line you throw at a problem, you have already left the experience. You are not abiding, you are thinking about abiding. You are rehearsing it, maintaining it, propping it up in mind as if the repetition could do the work. It cannot. You see, reliance on metaphysical truths as slogans can be fatal to progress, because it convinces you that you're doing spiritual work while you're only moving thoughts around in the head. Let me say what you already know in your bones. You say, I abide, and then nothing happens. No peace, no guidance, no lift, only strain. You keep on, louder inside perhaps, I abide, and the shoulders rise, the breath shortens, and you wonder why the silence does not open. That very wondering tells you are on the mental plane, maintaining a phrase, not entering a presence. This is why it is dangerous. It produces stagnation dressed in holy language. It gives you the illusion of progress, hours logged, pages filled, a neat stack of statements. While the heart knows, and you know that you know, there has been no inner shift, no release. And so you begin to doubt not only the word, but the way. And that doubt is unnecessary suffering. Now hear the relief in this. The point of abide is not a slogan. It is a state of consciousness that announces itself. It verifies itself. How? A release comes within. The government is not on my shoulder. The sense of personal management eases, and without effort, guidance appears as quiet certainties or as a simple capacity to rest. Before that release, you are only thinking. After it, you are being carried. So our promise tonight is very practical. We are going to diagnose exactly how abide slides into mentality, how the personal self grabs it and grinds it, and we are going to correct it with a contemplative method. Not grinding, not forcing, not hypnotizing yourself with phrases, but reading, hearing, pondering the word until consciousness yields, until the inner door opens. And then, stop. Rest. Let the Father, the Christ within, take the government. We will be exact. We will be kind. We will move from the thought, abide, to the experience of abiding. And you will know the difference because something in you will unclench. You will feel the shift of agency. And from there, we proceed, not with slogans, but with life. You see? Now, let us be plain about words, because words can bless and words can betray. We say, abide, and at once the mind builds a picture, a clever arrangement of thoughts, a little mental room with a rug and a chair marked peace. That is one meaning. Abide as a mental idea you hold, an image you maintain, a posture you talk yourself into. And then there is another, which is not a picture, not a posture, not a talk. It is an actual inward staying, a resting, as if you had leaned back into something that already is, without your help, without your reinforcement. And a hush comes that is not made of sentences. That is the difference. The first is you building, the second is you being carried. Now, hear this boundary, because it will save you months of wandering. Abiding is not self-hypnosis. It is not autosuggestion. It is not positive thinking. It is not talking yourself into peace. Those can produce effects on the mental and emotional levels, yes. Calmer breathing, dulled anxiety, a temporary lift. But that is not the Christ within doing the works. That is your mind arranging its furniture. And mind arrangement, even when neat and religiously scented, is still mind arrangement. It does not open the inner door. It does not bring that unmistakable release by which you know the government has shifted from your shoulder to his. You see? Language deceives because it is swift, and we are credulous. You can say truth statements all day long. God is, Christ in me, I abide. And they will remain beautiful sentences, correct theology, until the truth behind them is realized. Realized. Until it is touched, felt, known before it comes into action. And without that realization, the statements have no authority in your experience. They are like a check written on a closed account. Fine ink, no funds. That is why reliance on statements as statements becomes stagnation. You stack them, you admire them, you repeat them, and nothing moves. So our aim must be sober and simple. Abide from concept to consciousness. Let it cease being something you argue for, and let it become the place from which you live. How do you know the shift has occurred? The sign is always the same. A release, a softening within, a cessation of pushing. The inner sense says, I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. And it is not a quote anymore. It is a condition. From that condition, thought quiets of its own accord. From that condition, you do not have to convince yourself to love, to forgive, to wait. You find you are loving, forgiving, waiting, as naturally as breathing. And so, let us be firm with ourselves. If you find yourself manufacturing peace by slogans, stop. Not with condemnation, but with clarity. Abiding begins when the personal operator resigns and the presence is recognized as present. Then the word abide is not a spell you cast, it is a state that holds you. Then you may speak or be silent. Either way, you are kept. Now let us look right at the slide, because it is subtle, and it comes with a smile on its face. You hear the word abide. You like the idea. It warms you. You say, yes, that's it. Abide. And at once the mind takes hold of it. You repeat the word. Then you begin to check. Did it work? Do I feel different? Has anything changed yet? And when nothing seems to happen on your clock, you press harder. You say it more often, with more intensity. You set reminders. You supervise yourself. Then comes fatigue, a little disappointment, a little inward sigh. I'm doing it. Why is nothing moving? And there you have the whole descent, from a living presence dawning to a mental maintenance program, tracked, graded, enforced by the personal mind. So it is that the mind does with this, as it does with diet plans and budgets and moral resolutions. Effort, will, self-supervision. Keep at it, it says. Stay on top of it. And that machinery, which has its place in the management of outer things, is powerless in the things of spirit. Powerless. Because the very operator of that machinery is the one who must resign before spirit can act. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. If I am still the superintendent, counting repetitions, measuring moods, timing results, who is acting? I am. And as long as I am acting, he is not yet realized. Now, beneath the pushing, there is usually a motive that is honest but hidden. Fear. Fear of the circumstance. Fear of tomorrow. Fear of a letter in the mail, of a diagnosis, of a child's choice, of a bill. And so the mind, frightened, picks up the word abide like a talisman, hoping to control outcomes. If I abide, then this will happen. If I say it enough, life will obey. That is not abiding. That is mental magic. Even when it seems to produce an effect, it is the mind rearranging its furniture, an anxiolytic, not an anointing. There is no release in it. The government is still on your shoulder, and you know it, because you are tired. Why does nothing truly happen? Because the doer has not shifted. Because you are trying to produce a spiritual state by personal effort. And spiritual states are not produced. They are revealed when the personal self yields. Think of it this way. As long as you hold the word like a tool, you are standing at the door, polishing the handle. Abiding is the door opening from within. It opens when the one who opens is recognized, not when the knob is shined. So our diagnosis is firm and kind. When you notice this slide, hearing, liking, repeating, checking, forcing, fatiguing, stop not in despair, but in clarity. Ask the turning question, who abides? And where is the place of abiding? Is it here in my personal thought, or in the indwelling presence that says, I in the midst of thee am mighty? Who is this he? What is this he? The Father, the Father, the Father. When that question is honestly entered, the project manager in you grows quiet, and a different agency becomes possible. Then, and only then, the sign appears. Release. A soft letting go. The inner whisper that the government is not on my shoulder. From there, we proceed, not as maintainers, but as those kept, carried, and governed from within. You see? Now we come to the sentence we all know, and we must refuse to leave it as poetry. Abide in me, and I in you. Sit with it, not fast, not as a banner over the door, as a key you do not force. Abide in me, and I in you. Who is this me? Who is this I? And who is this you? If we answer quickly, oh, that's Jesus talking to us, we have left the work and returned to the mind's filing cabinet. We are not reading a history book. We are meeting a living word whose pronouns must be found in the heart. Who is this me? Is it a person 2,000 years ago, over there, unreachable? Or is it that presence which says, I in the midst of thee am mighty? Is it the indwelling Christ, the life of God individualized as the very center of your being? And who is this I that says, and I in you? Is it my devotional feeling? Is it my belief? Or is it the same presence, self-witnessing, saying, I live, yet not I, Christ liveth in me? And then, who is this you? Is it this personal self with its records and its fears, the one keeping score? Or is it the branch consciousness, the awareness that derives its life from the vine and has no life of its own to maintain? You see how the pronouns begin to open the door. Now take the companion line and lay it beside this one. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. If I, the personal I, can do nothing, then abiding is not I, the person, clinging to God with white knuckles. That is strain. That is the government on my shoulder. Abiding is the recognition that the Father within is the doer, the sustainer, the life. Therefore, the only act required of the personal sense is yielding. Yielding. Letting the inner government be government. So we ask again, quietly this time, who abides? Do I, the mental manager, hold him? Or does he, the indwelling presence, hold me? Abide in me. Come to rest in the awareness of me, the Christ, the I that I am. And I in you. Realize that I, the same presence, am the life within your within. And there something happens that no doctrine can produce. A release. A soft inward ascent without sentences. The sense of responsibility, responsibility, shifts. You discover, not as a lesson learned, but as a fact felt. It is not I. The Father doeth this thing. The government is not on my shoulder. You will know when this pronoun work has moved beyond thinking, because the machinery of self-improvement stops turning of itself. You are not pressing. You are not trying to feel. You are kept. The thought, abide, may appear or not. It no longer matters. The state has you. And from that state, guidance rises of its own accord. Quiet, exact, unforced. So it is, and here is how we practice. We take the word into silence. We ask the pronouns their names. We wait until the inner witness says, I in the midst of thee am mighty. And then we cease. We do not carry God. We are carried by God. The Father. The Father. The Father. Now we must be very clear about the proof, because without a proof you will drift back to slogans. The proof is not a vision. It is not fireworks. It is not a tingling up the spine or a momentary ecstasy. Those may come and go as weather, but they are not the seal. The seal is release, a dropping of strain, the end of self-management, a quiet inward loosening, as if some hidden fist unclenched and you discovered, without anyone telling you, the government is not on my shoulder. That is how you know abide has ceased being a word and has become a state. When abiding is real, you will notice very ordinary changes that are more trustworthy than any vision. Anxiety loosens, perhaps not all at once, but palpably. You stop rehearsing outcomes in the head like a lawyer before a jury. The breath finds you again. You do not need to rev yourself with courage. There is a quiet confidence without bravado. You are not making yourself calm. You are being kept calm. You are not holding God. God is holding you. The Father within me doeth the works. And because the doer has shifted, the inner atmosphere changes, softens, so that even in the presence of the same facts, the same figures, the same medical report, there is an unexplainable okayness. Not indifference, not denial, but rest. You see? Now hear the contrast, because it will save you much time. If you are grinding statements into the brain and feeling tighter, you are not abiding. You are resisting life with words. If, after practice, you are more vigilant, more pressured, more determined to make it turn out your way, you have not touched presence. You have only wound the spring of your will. And the body tells on you. Shoulders rise, jaw sets, sleep thins, and you keep peeking to see if it worked. That peeking is the witness against you. It says, I, the personal I, am still in charge. And as long as I am, he is not yet realized. So we introduce a simple self-check. Gentle, not scolding. After my practice, am I freer? Am I gentler? Am I less driven to fix and force? Do I find it possible to wait without gnawing at the bone of the problem? Is there any small sign of the end of self-management? If not, stop the grinding. Not in failure, but in honesty. Return to the question that opens the door. Who abides? Who doeth the works? Let the pronouns correct the pressure. The Father. The Father. The Father. And then, expect nothing be staged, but watch for the sign that always precedes action. A hush comes, sometimes in a breath, sometimes after a few minutes, sometimes later in the day, and with it, a sense that you are carried. Before anything alters in the outer picture, before any letter arrives, before any physician speaks, the inner government shifts. This is the only reliable verification we have in this way. A felt release before it comes into action. After that, you find guidance rising, not as orders barked by fear, but as simple nexts. Call here, wait there, say nothing now. We are moving, you and I, from word to state, and the bridge is release. And how do we come to it? Not by more repetition, not by tightening the will, but by contemplative meditation. Reading, hearing, pondering the living word until consciousness yields, and then stopping. We shall sit with that work presently. For now, rest in this boundary and this blessing. When the release is present, abiding is present. When the release is absent, be still, and let the Father within take the government from your shoulder to his. Now we come to the how. And we must be exact, because the mind loves to turn even this into a project. I call this contemplative meditation, and it is very simple. First, take a passage, not 10. 1. A living word, not a clever idea. Abide in me, I in you. The Father within me doeth the works. He perfected that which concerneth me. Any one of these will open the door if you do not force it. Second, sit. Not stiff, not grim. Sit as one who has been invited. Third, read or hear the passage softly. Once, twice, slowly. Then close the eyes and allow it to be present within you. Ponder it. Turn it gently, like a jewel in light. Who is this me? Who is this I? Who is this he? Not to get an answer of words, but to enter the atmosphere of the one speaking. Now let the pondering grow quieter. Not grinding, not repeating like a drill, but contemplating, which is a kind of listening. We are not trying to hypnotize ourselves. We are not trying to make something happen. We are not working up a mood. We are waiting in a listening attitude for the inner recognition. So it is that you might breathe the phrase once more. Abide in me, and I in you. And then let the words fade, while you stay with the meaning, or better yet, with the presence behind the meaning. If the mind wants to manufacture images, smile at them and return to the simple sense that a living word is here. The Father within me doeth the works. Who is this Father? Where is within? You see how the pronouns keep you honest and keep you open. And here is the crucial point. Do not labor for a result. We are not peeking to see if it worked. We are staying until consciousness yields. Sometimes it is a minute, sometimes 5. Sometimes you will find only quiet, and that is all right. But often, all of a sudden, a release comes within. A softness, a letting go. The recognition that the government is not on my shoulder. In that moment, stop. That is the opening. Do not go on working the mind. Do not add more statements to make it stick. Stop. Sit a few breaths in that hush. Then get up and go about your business from the settled place. Let the Father within carry the day. If later you find the mind active again, the shoulders rising, the old project manager returning, do not scold yourself. Return to the well. 2 hours later, 3, 4, 5 hours later, whenever you notice you have gone mental again, take the same passage or another that is alive to you. He perfected that which concerneth me. Who is this He? What is this He? The Father. The Father. The Father. Read, hear, ponder until the release comes, and stop. Always the same rhythm. Touch, open, rest. No compulsion, no clock to beat. Only returning as often as needed until the state holds you more than you hold the word. This is the corrective method. Not grinding a truth into thought, but staying with it until consciousness yields into the felt presence, and then resting there. From there, life proceeds differently, because the doer has changed. You are not using the word is using you. And that, you will discover, is abiding. Now, we must put a fence around this work, because the mind will sneak in with a contract in its pocket. The temptation is simple, and to the frightened heart very reasonable. Use abide to get something: money, health, love, safety. If I abide well enough, the check will come. If I abide faithfully, the diagnosis will reverse. If I abide hard, the child will do what I want. And the very moment abide becomes a technique for outcomes, it has left the spirit and entered the mental plane. That is mental control, suggestion, self-hypnosis, willpower spirituality. Even when the words are biblical and the tone is pious. It is still the personal I attempting to move pieces on the board. Now, do not mistake me. Mental control can produce phenomena. You can steady the pulse, alter a mood, impress an idea upon another mind. In India, they teach forms of it as yoga. In the West, it wears clinical names: hypnosis, suggestion. Even when used by spiritually minded men, it is still mental. It does not reveal identity. It does not awaken the indwelling Christ as the operator. It does not bring you to that blessed wordless knowing, I live, yet not I, Christ liveth in me. Its signature is strain and the constant peeking at effects. Did it work? Has it shifted yet? The government is still on your shoulder, and the shoulders tell on you. Here is the cost of chasing results. Your attention is fastened on externals. You measure your practice by appearances. You make the world your examiner and your calendar your judge. And the inner government, the only government we seek, remains concealed, because you have made effects your master and the Father within your employee. That order cannot stand in the things of spirit. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. If the Father is the doer, then I cannot use abide to do anything to anyone or to anything. I can only yield into the realized presence, and let Him bear the government upon His shoulder. So it is that we correct our aim. We abide not to manipulate life, but to be governed inwardly. We come to rest in the I that I am, and from that rest, right action appears of itself. Not as compulsion, not as a staged demonstration, but as quiet nexts. A call rises, a no rises, a wait rises, a word of love rises. The doer has changed, and therefore the effects no longer belong to the personal will, but to the order of the kingdom. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, not as a bargain, not as bait, but as reality. And all these things shall be added. Added, you see, not fetched by the fists of the mind. If you catch yourself bargaining, I'll abide and then this must happen. Stop. Do not scold. Be clear. Return to the pronouns. Who abides? Who doeth the works? The Father, the Father, the Father. Rest there until the release comes, until you know by that soft inward letting go that the government is not on your shoulder. Then get up and go about your business, not to make something happen, but to witness what the inner government has already ordained. This is safety. This is freedom. And this, my friends, is abiding. You see? Now, when the government shifts from your shoulder to His, a very quiet miracle begins. And I want you to notice it, because it will come so naturally you might call it nothing. It is not nothing. It is the refinement of consciousness, and with refinement comes a new kind of seeing. Not imagination, do not mistake me here. Not pictures manufactured by the mind, not daydreams. This is perception transfigured by abiding, and it unfolds step by step, as gently as dawn. You see, when we are no longer fighting appearances with thought, when the inner hush holds, the senses become servants of spirit, and spirit allows us to see beyond the surface of things. First, the most practical change. You stop reacting to the gross picture. The report, the behavior, the headline appears, and the old surge to battle it does not rise with the same force. The breath does not leave you. The shoulders do not climb. There is a pause that is not vacancy, but presence. In that pause, the hypnotic authority of appearances breaks. The world does not vanish. Its tyranny does. You are looking at the same scene, but no longer from the animal level of fear and rush. The Father within me doeth the works. From that ground, you can look without being captured. Then a subtler grace. You begin to meet eyes. Before, you quickly noted bodies, clothing, manner, age. Now, without trying, your attention goes to the eyes. The eyes are windows, and you find yourself saluting something shining out of them. Not a personality, not charm, not sadness, though those may play on the surface, but a deeper I. You can feel it. I, in the midst of thee, am mighty. And something in you whispers without words, I am meeting myself. Do you have eyes and do not see? The question turns to answer as the seeing refines. As you abide further, an atmosphere becomes plain. The old word is aura. I prefer atmosphere. You become aware of a quality around a person or a place, as tangible as fragrance, and yet not of the senses. Peace is there before speech, or burden is there before complaint. And because you are not on the surface, you do not attack the symptom, You rest in the presence and let it interpret what is before you. Often, right there, the atmosphere changes. Not by your will, not by suggestion, but because the realized presence reveals itself as the only law of the scene. And then, at times, there is light. Not a show, not a trick. A flash in which the person before you is hardly a person at all, but radiance. As if form thinned and a living luminosity stood where a body had been. It may last a breath, a heartbeat, and it is enough. You know by that sign what has always been true. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth in me, and in him, and in her. Transfiguration is not a once-for-all spectacle. It is a continuing experience of elevated consciousness, appearing and disappearing as your refinement permits. Now bring this down to sidewalks and telephones. As abiding stabilizes you, you answer people less as problems to fix, and more as presence appearing. The difficult man becomes an assignment in love, not a foe. The bill becomes an opportunity to witness order, not a lash. Situations lose their hypnotic authority because the only authority you acknowledge is within. And from within, guidance rises. Call here, wait there, say nothing now. You are not using psychic tricks. We forbid that. This is not hypnotism. This is not mental control. This is the natural fruit of a consciousness that has ceased to live on the surface and is governed by the Father. The Father. The Father. So do not chase visions. Do not bargain for lights. Abide. Let the release come. Let the government lift. And as it does, seeing will take care of itself. You will perceive beyond appearance because you are beyond appearance. And in that beholding, love and wisdom flow without your strain. You see? Now, as seeing refines, a law comes into focus, and I want you to feel its weight as kindness, not as threat. If there is one presence, one self, then my relation to you is not a department of morals, it is the mechanics of spirit. What I am to you, I am to myself, because there is only one I. Inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Hear it not as advice, law. Who is this me? Not a far-off figure in a book. The me is the Christ in the midst, the I of you and the I of me, so that every act to you is an act to me, and therefore to my own being. That is why, when abiding is real, love and justice cease to be projects. They become the only way that makes sense. Now here is the contradiction that wrecks practice. Trying to abide while resenting, exploiting, judging, or dismissing another. It splits consciousness. It says with one breath, I live, yet not I, Christ liveth in me. And with the next, but not in him, not in her. That double mind throws you back to the mental plane. The release departs. The government returns to your shoulder, and you feel it because grievance is a weight. So we set a boundary, and it is mercy. If I abide, I cannot use another. I cannot flatter to get, underpay to gain, gossip to aggrandize, or freeze you out to feel safe. I cannot send thoughts to make you behave. No, that is hypnotism. That is mental control. Even when wrapped in pious language, I'm holding them in the light. If the aim is to bend a person, it is the personal I at work. What then? Conduct myself as if I were the I of you. Speak as if every word was spoken into my own heart, because it is. Make my weights honest, my invoices clean, my promises straight. Be patient as if my delays were your delays, because they are. Protect your dignity in your absence as if my name were on the line, because it is. Pray in secret, which is to say, abide in the Father, and let the Father within do the works, without a single thought projected from me to you. When correction is required, give it as a steward of the One, not as a superior. When mercy is possible, choose it as if I were choosing for my own soul, because I am. And see what happens to practice when ethics align with oneness. Conflict drops, and with it, the static in consciousness. You are not trying to swim against yourself. The inner atmosphere clears. Abiding grows steady instead of occasional, because you are not undoing in the street what you seek in the chair. The same presence that lifts the government from your shoulder lifts it from your brothers, and your dealings become a sanctuary for both. Then the proof appears again, release, before any outer change. A quiet rightness, a rest that is not indifference, but care without strain. Do unto others. He was not giving advice, he was stating a law. There is only one self. If I wrong you, whom have I wronged? Myself. If I bless you, whom have I blessed? Myself. And so abiding, verified in love and justice, ceases to be a practice and becomes a way of being. The Father, the Father, the Father. You see? Now, because we live in a world of clocks and letters and doorbells, let me take away this fear at once. You will go mental again. You will catch yourself in the kitchen or at the desk repeating, abide, 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 with a little push in it, and the shoulders will be up and the breath will be short. That is not failure. That is the mind doing what the mind does, trying to take over the work of spirit. So the first instruction is mercy. Do not scold. Simply notice and say within, all right, I have taken the government back onto my shoulder. Then we return. How do we return? Stop the chatter. Put down the pile of sentences. Take one living line, only one. Abide in me, or the Father within me doeth the works, or He perfecteth that which concerneth me. Now do the pronoun work. Who is this He? What is this He? Where is within? Who doeth the works? Who abides? Let the words grow softer, not forced, and turn to listening. We are not grinding, we are contemplating. Read or hear it within once or twice, and then be still. Wait as one who has been invited. And listen until a touch comes, not a thought only, but a sense. Now the test, and it must be kept. Do not leave the chair with tightened shoulders. Do not get up with the jaw set. Remain until the burden lifts, even slightly. Do not measure by fireworks, measure by release. When even a small loosening appears, when that hidden fist unclenches and there is the faint but honest knowing, the government is not on my shoulder. Then stop. That is our seal. Sit a moment in that hush. Then rise and go about your business, not to make anything happen, but to witness what the inner government has already set in motion. If the release does not come, linger a little. If still it does not, bless the moment, close the book, and return later. We do not force God. We yield to God. Lay out the day simply. In the morning, before the newspaper, before the telephone, 5 minutes, 7, not long but true. Take one line. Abide in me and I in you. Ask the pronouns their names. Who is this me? Who is this I? Stay until the first quiet release, and stop. Midday, at the sink, in the parked car, in a hall between tasks. Return for 60 seconds. Yes, 1 minute will do, if it is pure. One line, one question, one listening. Wait for the faint lift. Evening. Let gratitude gather. Not a performance, not a report card. Review the day as presence appearing. Where the government shifted, give thanks. Where you used another, confess it to the one and yield it back. Where fear shouted, hand it to the Father. Then sleep in the Word. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth in me. If you find no release after several tries, do not invent it. Do not pretend. Drop the tool, pick it up later. Choose another living line if the first has dulled. Always the same rhythm. Touch, open, rest. And always the same safeguard. If pressure increases, stop the mind work and return to the pronouns until he within stands up and you know it by relief. This is not a stunt, it is a life. Repeated yieldings, quiet transfers of government from the personal I to the Father within. Each genuine yielding deepens the certainty that he that is within me is greater than he that is in the world. Each time you catch the slide back to slogans, you can return, by contemplation, until the felt release restores inner government. Then the day carries you. The Father, the Father, the Father. You see?